I was bowled over by the amount of love that people have for his generation, because they're all disappearing very rapidly.
Escorted by outriders from the Royal Signals Riders Branch, the route lined by current members of the Royal Signals, Stan Swannee Swansborough made his final journey to East Hampstead Crematorium near Reading, another of a dwindling number of D-Day veterans no longer with us.
He never really talked about it until fairly recently, because I think it was one of those things where everybody had been to war and he felt as though he hadn't done, because he wasn't in a fighting unit, he was in a support unit. He felt as though other people deserved honour more than he did.
Stan grew up in Wiltshire. Aged 16, he joined the Home Guard, helping spot members of the Parachute Regiment as they made training jumps over Uphaven. Just before his 18th birthday, he was called up, joining the Royal Signals as a dispatch rider. Soon he was driving back and forth from Whitehall to the south coast, delivering vital information to the thousands of troops massing for D-Day. 2 weeks after the invasion, Stan landed in France, ferrying messages in his Willys Jeep between Monty and Eisenhower. From France, Stan fought through Holland, Belgium and eventually Germany. But his war wasn't over. From Europe, he was reposted, spending 18 months in India.
I think, as my mum said, he didn't really talk hugely about what had gone on during the war and his time when he served until we went back to Normandy as a whole family in 2009. And then it sort of all started pouring out as we started to go around Normandy, and he would take us around and show all of us grandchildren what he'd been up to and where he'd been and what he'd seen and all these different events that he'd been involved in.
Along the way, Stan married his sweetheart Peggy, the couple together for 68 years. After the war, Stan worked for BOAC, what became British Airways. But his attachment to his former unit never faded, and he returned to Normandy several times.
3 cheers for Swannee Swansborough. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hooray!
A few years ago, he was guest of honour at the Corps headquarters at Blandford, becoming an honorary friend of the Signals.
First of all, Swanee, he gave us the right of freedom, basically. He fought in World War II, landed on D-Day. He was part of the Royal Signals. Anyone that's part of the Royal Signals becomes part of our family, and we'll do anything we can to honour them.
I was invited to his 96th birthday party when we were COVID down, and we sat and we had a nice meal together and all the rest of it, and I presented him with a Rider's badge, made him an honorary member of the Royal Signals Riders, and while nobody was listening, he whispered a little joke in my ear, and his sense of humour is still there, the sense of humour that you have to serve, because some of the things you see and do.
Stan died peacefully at the age of 96, another of a special generation to pass. Their role in the world's greatest military invasion never forgotten. Simon Newton, Forces News, Reading. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.